Welcome to Old Fashioned episode 22. The Old Fashioned Podcast. I am here. I got to do this because I did this with Tim and he kind of liked it, but he didn't. But I'm going to do it again. Live from the Rare Drop Studios in Tampa, Florida. It's the Old Fashioned Podcast. Mike is in the studio. He is in Florida visiting with his family. We had a fun weekend.
We had a great weekend, live and in person.
We had a good time. He mainly came because yesterday we went to Howl-O-Scream at Busch Gardens, which we'll talk about more. We're going to talk about Star Wars Visions today, and we're going to talk about season 2 of Castlevania. So I can move on to season 3 because I've waited this entire time.
You're going to have to refresh my memory for some of the Castlevania season 2.
I am going to have to refresh my own memory, but I have all of the episode descriptions up.
Perfect.
So we can kind of go through it. I know the general gist of it, so we'll mess around. But yeah, before we get started, this morning I woke up with some delicious King's Coast coffee. Did you?
I did as well. 2 cups, in fact.
Yesterday when we were at Howl-O-Scream, I told Tim, and I think he recorded it on his phone. Yeah.
He got one.
Yeah. I said, you know what the real scary thing is? Not waking up with King's Coast coffee.
Just imagine that intro and then immediately followed by chainsaws revving in the background.
That was the one he did.
That was the one he got.
Oh, and the chainsaw guy saw Tim on his phone and ran towards him because he thought he was taking a selfie.
Immediate.
And Tim, who's apparently immune to fear.
Yeah, we learned that.
Yeah, he didn't even flinch in any of it. He was dancing in the vampire one because of the club music.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so get that kingscoastcoffee.com. October 1st, there is a drop of cocoa coming. You heard it here. Don't say we didn't warn you. Also, the people online that are saying, this is the year I get cocoa. Where were you last year when it was available through the entire holiday season?
Wait. People are still complaining about not getting the cocoa?
Yeah. Yep.
Should I put my Steven Cocoa gift back up again?
Hey, what's up? Are we moving again? All right, let me denote this real quick. Da, 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 da. This is the beauty of pre-recording things. Max.
Makes everything easier.
3 into old fashioned. We had to stop. All right, cool. Let's jump into it, Mike. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Castlevania? You want to talk about Visions? You want to talk about Haunted House?
Visions.
All right. Fresh in your mind, you started it 2 days ago.
2 days
you finished it today. What'd you think?
I loved it.
All of them?
I loved well, hold on. So there's 2 episodes that were immediately made aware to me. And I agree with you on those 2 episodes. Toby, I feel like I enjoyed probably slightly more than you did, maybe?
Pronounced Toby Wan.
Toby Wan, excuse me.
Toby. Ha 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 ha.
I think I enjoyed that one a little bit more than you did. While I can appreciate the art, I didn't care for
Tatooine Rhapsody.
the art. Yeah. Oh no, absolutely did not.
Oh, you're talking about
but
Toby.
Even for
Toby Wan.
I didn't really. I appreciate it because that is where it looked like 90s morning kids cartoons. So I can appreciate it. Didn't care for it.
It was a cute story, but I don't know. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I see why people would like it.
Absolutely.
Same thing with the other one. Ben loved the Tatooine Rhapsody, but I could not get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. And as far as big a music guys as we are, I couldn't put those 2 worlds together.
Yeah.
And have it just fit.
The Tatooine Rhapsody one has a ton of voice actors in it too. There's a ton of people in that episode. Like I know Joseph Gordon-Levitt is on those credits.
He is?
Yeah, I think he's the main former Jedi guy. Let's see if I can look it up. Star Wars Visions. Do you know the reason? Because Tim asked me why I say things as I type them. It's actually to kill time, so there's no dead air.
Oh, Fair.
That's why I say them.
Okay.
Episode lists.
Also, let people know what you're searching since it's audio.
Yeah, because you can't see anything. Maybe if you watch the vlog. Tatooine Rhapsody. Ooh, Tatooine Rhapsody is only a 5.4 stars.
Out of 10?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Bobby Moynihan's in this one. Mark Thompson, who we just interviewed on Star Wars and Scotch and Broman podcast. He's the guy that does all the Star Wars audiobooks. He's the guy. So I guess Bobby Moynihan and Joseph Gordon-Levitt would be the two big ones.
That's still a big list.
Yeah.
Big as in big names.
Oh, and Tamir Morrison played Boba Fett. Obviously. Yeah, that one, again, I was told it was like super anime trope and like par for the course, but I couldn't get into it. Believe it or not, the Ninth Jedi, according to IMDb, has the most stars. That was the one where the group that you thought was all Jedi.
So did they use the, I think it was Ninth Jedi. They used the term Ronin again in that episode. Any chance that harkens back to episode 1?
The Duel?
Where it was Master Ronin?
Maybe?
Same dude?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe?
See, The Duel to me was one of the only ones, in my opinion, that would have to almost be in a splinter universe of Star Wars just because of how stylized it is.
It was so cool.
I don't know if it was amazing. It was my favorite one. I just don't know if it could fit, you know? It can and it can't.
The whole thing had, like, almost every episode was Sith, not Sith-centric, but heavy Sith.
I believe, so there's no Sith in La Pinocho, but the Empire is there. And then the Village Bride didn't have a Sith. That was the one where the two people on the planet.
They
with the
were
wedding,
just yes.
They were just like
that's right. They weren't Sith at the end.
Right. And Tatooine Rhapsody didn't have a Sith either.
Okay. Well,
but the Duel did, and then the twins were both.
So six of the 9.
The twin. So I like the story of the twins because they're like born from science and dark side magic combined.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that was fun. Ninth Jedi, that was the plot twist, who the Sith were. Toby had the one at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Now I'm saying it wrong. Toby Wan. The Elder was my favorite Sith out of all of them.
Can we agree on just calling him Toby?
Yeah, whatever.
Cool.
La Pinocho didn't have a Sith. It was the Empire, and then Akakiri was literally the most Sith.
Even though she had, what's the name? I can't think of the name of that weapon now.
Who and what?
Her sister when she turned to the.
That was the family. They called it the family sword.
No, so so that had a green,
right,
in it, but her sister's was red.
Oh, that was.
I can't.
That was what's that metal called?
The name
Star
of
Wars. It's not a lightsaber.
It's not considered. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's I keep wanting to say vibranium, but that's Marvel, so that's incorrect.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's it'll come to me. But Akakiri to me was that one was fun because they literally ended the entire thing that you watched, and that one has a low rating too. I get why, because the animation in that one was a little janky.
That was a little, yeah.
But I liked the ending. I thought it was fun.
What killed it, the ending was great, and it was heavy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what did it in for me, was as heavy as that ending was, there was because of the art, it felt like there was just very little emotion.
Felt rushed.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know. Yeah, they did. They packed a lot of progression in a very short time frame.
You needed more backstory between the two of them to understand why he would do something like that.
Or to care as much.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, the faces just didn't, if I remember correctly, just didn't really feel like a lot of emotion was portrayed.
It was the animation style.
And it was exactly. I feel like if they changed the artistic direction that they went, it would maybe add a little bit more. But I enjoyed it. I thought that was a really good episode.
I loved the Elder. I was telling you while we were watching it.
Badass.
The eyes, the way they did the eyes with that little old man who, I guess he's not a Sith. He's a dark.
So he left. So we were debating this earlier. He was a Sith at one point,
but he
he got bored of the way the Sith basically
the power struggles.
Yes. He got bored of how they acted. Basically, like in my mind, he's like, okay, your childish games. I'm over your childish games of just constantly trying to swindle each other. So he got bored of the Sith ways, but probably still, I think you could still consider him a Sith, not actively practicing Sith, but
I mean, you have tons of dark side Force users in Star Wars. You've never seen Clone Wars, so you don't know about the Night Sisters.
So I started watching Clone Wars with Grayson, and when I say starting, I mean I would put it on and I'd fall asleep on the couch, and then I would wake up and be like, oh, this is still on because it's like fucking a year long. But I started watching it with him, and as it progressed, it just gets really dark, and I was like, man, I don't know. At the time, he was like 3. It's like, that's probably not a good idea.
The Night Sister stuff is actually terrifying for children.
Okay.
Because
there was a point I stopped, and I never picked it back up. So for me to watch it, I would have to start completely over.
Yeah, that's the planet that Darth Maul is from, and all the males there are like basically in slavery, and all the females rule the planet. And they train the males to fight and to, you know, but then they have a deal with the Sith that they can take males from them. You know, so Dooku's the one that finds Maul, and then the Emperor ends up taking him as an apprentice after Dooku or before. God, my Star Wars timeline.
Your timeline's going to be way more accurate than mine.
No, it's Dooku's after. Well, no, because Dooku's so the Emperor Palpatine loves to.
I ask you, Rob, Star Wars questions.
Well, Maul is in 1 and Dooku's in 2, but in Clone Wars, Dooku is the one that. Oh no! You know what? Maul goes back to the planet. Which, man, my brain is off today. I can't even remember the name of the planet.
Well,
that's
we are
bothering
in Florida,
me too.
So about the time you get fried.
Typing it in on my iPad. Dathomir, thank you. They're the Witches of Dathomir. How Dooku
far
ends up
into
going back there?
How far into the series is that?
Like season 3.
I'm in for that.
Anyway, they resurrect when there's a part where they're fighting against someone. I won't say who, but they resurrect all the dead Night Sisters to fight for them. So it's literally like zombie running around.
That's cool.
Yeah, but Grayson probably wouldn't handle it too well.
That's cool.
So
I'm in.
It's intense. But yeah, they use the Force too, but they're more like dark side mysticism. They wouldn't be considered Sith. But there's tons of that in the galaxy. There's a few episodes. There's another one where you learn about another. I think that one was Rebels, where you learn about another race. They're almost like very Zen, Eastern Asian culture modeled after that. But they call the Force something different. It's not called the Force.
They did that
in the Bride episode too.
Yeah, what do they call it? Machu or something?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, the Village Bride one, they called it something else. But I like when they do that in Star Wars because it shows you that it's not just our viewpoint of it; that there's a whole galaxy out there.
Right.
You know,
it kind of brings it down to Earth as a religion.
The Chiss, the ones who are blue skin with the red eyes, that Admiral Thrawn is a part of. They use the Force to navigate their way because they live beyond the red line in the galaxy. It's called the Chaos. And like no one knows what's out there. They use the Force to navigate. And they're also called, you ready for this? You know what they're called? Skywalkers.
Gee.
Well, Skywalker's a made up last name anyway, so.
Okay. As we talk about Chaos, we were watching the new animated He-Man series, not the new series, the
Netflix one.
There's 2 Netflix. You have the Kevin Smith one that came out, and then I guess this one came out shortly after the original Kevin, or the one that Kevin Smith just released, and it's Skeletor and the Chaos.
That one sucked.
Yeah, so far
it seemed like a bastardization of my childhood.
Yeah, hard.
We were like, where the hell is Skeletor? And then it ended up being that one guy.
And maybe I'm misremembering, but I could have sworn Skeletor was a demon. I thought he was supposed to be a demon.
Google it. I mean, he did jump into that pit and then came out on the other side, so that could technically be true.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Like I said, maybe I don't know. Maybe we don't know the actual lore behind it.
Could be.
What's canon in that. But I always just thought he was a demon.
I mean, For kids, it's cool. You got to watch the one. I think it's called The Dragon Prince.
So yes, you were telling me about that, and Grayson was telling Hunter about it, and so now they both want to watch.
Hunter
He-Man.
started watching it. It's this one. Oh, it's a book. That's where it comes from. That makes sense.
Oh,
but it's really good. It's elves and humans, and also I should start assuming that everything good came from a book at some point, or a comic, or something. We didn't do. We didn't watch Harry Potter like you wanted to.
we have tonight. And most of the day, right?
How mad are you that we couldn't? So, segueing to our Halloween little festivities.
According to fandom,
On Skeletor.
Skeletor is described by the sorceress of Castle Grayskull as a demon from another dimension.
There you go.
Yes.
So not Adam's brother.
Unless he became possessed through the chaos and the demon possesses, but this show depicts him as he was always bad.
Just so you know, 3 seasons of Dragon Prince, 8.4 on IMDb, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, 91% Google users liked it.
I do not trust Rotten Tomatoes, and I never will again in my life.
But IMDb and Google.
Those I will put more faith in,
So
for sure.
I only tout Rotten Tomatoes because that was the only ammo I had when you guys were like, animated series, Batman. So, well, you weren't. The other 3 were.
I'm on board for the animated
that
series.
Rob, Wayne, and Pete were like, oh, Joker's the best. Because I know they just try and do it to piss me off. But
stirring the pot.
I was like, it's a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Now, ever since Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones came out, I'm like, you guys are fucking trash.
Oh, the review bomb garbage?
No, the user reviews were through the roof. Rotten Tomatoes bombed it.
Oh, that was the media bomb.
They came out and said, it's bad, it's bad. Horse shit. One of the best stand-ups. That was amazing.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. Yeah, I remember that. That was yeah.
They're manipulating their scores. I don't trust you at all.
Well, I watched like half of the first season with Hunter and loved it. So
I'll have to watch that.
Audience score. So it's 100% with an audience score of 93 on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's close enough. That's close enough where I would.
So check that one out.
Gives them a little bit more validity.
Check that one out. So Halloween stuff. Originally, the plan was for Mike to come down. We were going to go to Universal Studios and do Halloween Horror Nights. Full disclosure, I live about an hour from Universal Studios. So getting there in the evening and getting back was a pain in the ass. So we decided to move it to Busch Gardens and do Howl-O-Scream, which is like, if you're a TikTok person, it's the in the ghetto version of Halloween Horror Nights. Still a lot of fun, but the ghetto version. But seeing Halloween Horror Nights on TikTok, how did you feel that we couldn't see the Death Eaters at Hogwarts?
So I'm
the Death Eaters come out 2 times every night of Halloween Horror Nights if you're in Hogwarts, and they walk around. It's a whole show, and they mess with people, and there's lights and fireworks and stuff.
So if you're asking me how awesome that would be to witness, I'm saying that would be pretty fucking incredible.
So
incredible.
Our plan next year is to go and stay there, so the wives and children are there, not coming to Halloween Horror Nights.
But the way we did it this year, though, still fun.
Oh yeah,
still fun. And you didn't know this. I didn't know that this was Ben's first like haunted house.
I didn't know until I woke up this morning and I got the text message from Ben. Thanks, I've never done anything like that. That was a lot of fun.
So this is kind of a really good way to dip your toes into it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because if you don't know, Halloween Horror Nights is Hollywood level production horror haunted house, if you will.
The Universal experience.
Yeah, that one is Hollywood level. Howl-O-Scream, your local one, still great. Not going to be what they do at Universal Studios. Universal Studios uses movie quality props, costumes, everything to scare the bejesus out of you. So I think Ben and I probably would have, and then I would have had to drive home like that.
The adrenaline dump would have been like the crash was going to be hard.
Yeah.
Especially coupled with drinking. Like, the crash would have been hard. We definitely would have just stayed. That's the way to do it.
we have, if you watch the next episode of the Rare Drop vlog, you will have a good chunk. Max is going to edit it, but a good chunk of it is Tim was the last one in. So Mike went first in the first haunted house we went in, the Witch of the Woods, if you're familiar with it. Mike went in first. I went in second, and then Ben, and then Tim held the camera in the back, which we had no idea he wasn't going to flinch the whole entire time. He essentially got Ben freaking out in his first haunted house, and we didn't even know it
the entire time. It was awesome. And of the night, that was the best haunted house of the whole night.
Yeah, it was
the best one.
It was downhill from there, not in a bad way, just as far as quality and everything.
Quality went down a little bit. The jump scares were like fewer and further. Well, I take that back. The Blade themed house,
the vampire one,
that had a lot of good corners and jump scares in it, but you're so desensitized at that point.
Well, the advantage we had in Witch of the Woods is there was no one behind us and no one in front of us.
Correct.
In the vampire one, you and Ben had a sorority behind you, and Tim and I had I don't know what
Billy
you call
Joe
them,
and
late 20s.
Fucking
the lady fell down one time because she got so scared.
The people directly in front of you, I looked and I was like, for fuck's sake, if you'd stop trying to screw her in the middle of the haunted house, dude, we'd be good.
Dude was like hugging her.
Like, for legitimately, his arms were like under her armpits, and the whole time his waist was glued to her backside.
Yeah, like chill.
I was like, dude, we still live in pandemic America. Like, you're like, they're not gonna come near you. They're not gonna come near you.
Which they didn't.
They didn't. Nobody did. B, what were you worried about?
And can we give them credit? Like, they managed to find plenty of new ways that I had never seen in haunted houses to scare us without coming up in our face.
Whatever blocks they were using,
they were so
spoiler.
loud.
I don't know if you plan on going between now and then. I don't know. They use blocks or something. It sounds like the loudest cap gun I've ever heard in my life.
It's so loud.
But it is right next to you, and it's so unexpected.
And then you can hear it a lot from the other side of the house and people screaming when it goes off.
Yep.
So that enhances the experience.
And it's right there.
In the zombie cell block one, the cop got me with his fake taser.
Bzz.
He reached out and it lights up when he reaches out and it makes the zzz noise. And I jumped back. I was like, whoa.
So you could tell they started, maybe this is their first year or not, but the budget.
None of them did it last year.
Okay.
Universal, so nobody did it last year.
They're starting to step, or I would imagine, because they have a couple areas where there's these props that go kind of above and beyond. The taser being one of them, but the sparking sticks as you're going through Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
Fear Zone.
Yep.
Which
some of that
it's a shame we did that so early.
Yeah, we went into one that looked like Borderlands 2, basically. It's the best way to describe
exactly
Mad Max.
Like that.
And it was still light out, and we didn't know any better, but we should have waited till nighttime.
We lucked out going through Witches Woods.
Witch of the Woods.
Witch of the Woods. I think dark, that would have been cool, but I'm glad we went there first because it really was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving forward, the Fear Zone, I think, would have been a little bit cooler. Probably still not. We wouldn't have been any more scared, but whatever was sparking, like every one of them had some device.
A lot of it was, some of it was just like one girl had a shovel.
Yeah, I saw that.
And she just dragged it really fast and looked at you.
Right.
But some of them had like sticks that they were rubbing together.
And it looked like
some were on the aluminum oil cans. I watched one guy do it. I don't know if it was a knife. It was something he just scraped on it and like stared at me while he did it.
Shoot.
So they were finding surfaces to do it on. But that was cool. And then in the zombie one, some of the props they had in there were like 10. I would say the props in that one and the props in the vampire one were the best props.
Yeah. 100%.
Witches of the Woods was just super dark. And they had tons of good angles to get you in that one.
The props in the vampire one was probably you had like bodies dressed in just straight leather being in a cage over a bed, being
shaking,
stretched out and shaking.
And like, screaming. Yeah, you could hear them like
crazy.
The best prop in the vampire one was the portraits that you didn't know opened up and they jump out of the portraits at you. not jump out, but shove their
And
face
every
out.
time you were checking.
Oh, I was looking at every picture after that first one.
Yep. So now every picture is a potential threat, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, they just build it up. They and again, I've never been to Halloween Horror Nights, but judging from what I've seen, what I've heard, my wife has been, and she'll never go back. There's more scare zones at Universal Studios. Like the safety zones are very small, and apparently they yell to you in the safety zones, according to my wife. But at Busch Gardens, they mark where the next part you walk into is going to be themed like this, and they're going to, there's an entrance and an exit, which I think is smart because a lot of people probably need a break like Ben did.
Yeah. When you're walking into an area of the park that's not a haunted house, but it is like, hey, there are actors here.
Yeah.
This is a fear zone. The music is completely different. The atmosphere, it's dark. There's fog everywhere. The lights are green or orange.
Even the voodoo section, when we walked back when we were leaving, was way better in the dark.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because there was a one actor that was very low to the ground and
was
crawling like exorcism crawling. And if she popped out of the bushes when it was dark and you couldn't see her ahead of time, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, she was parked by the Wicker Man, so you could see her the whole time.
Oh, so good. And the people walking around on stilts with the big executioner's axes.
Oh, the cemetery and stuff.
Oh, so good.
The pirate one was fun. They didn't scare me.
No, that was fun.
But they were fun. The one guy was hiding in the woods, but we knew he was there.
Yeah. Kind of ruined it.
That one was good. The toys got us. Not the toys.
The children.
The children one. So there's a little kids area.
Bastards.
Where it's like, it's just bunny mask, and the bunny girl got me good.
And they played into that one hard too. And the music, again, the whole time you're walking through, it's like little kids laughing, being blasted through the speakers.
Yep. Like that's where we left
Jack
that
in
one.
the Box
and that's
cranks.
And then Ben heard a roller coaster. He was so on edge by that point. But that was good. Speaking of the roller coasters, that was probably the best part of the whole experience for me, was that we got to go on 3 roller coasters, no line, front seat, every single one.
We waited no more than 5 minutes.
I think that might even be longer than we waited.
The
and
entire
we were
time.
front of roller coaster every single time. I think on 2 of them we were the only ones on it.
It was awesome.
So the only thing that sucked was Shikro was closed, so we couldn't do Shikro with the 90 degree drop. That would have been fun.
Would have been awesome.
But that, if you live in Tampa or you live in Orlando, consider that when you're planning this. That you
super affordable.
Right. It was only $40 to go to the Busch Gardens one.
Super affordable.
We were there for 2.5 hours. We felt like we got our money's worth. We did 4 haunted houses because a few were closed, and we did 3 roller coasters.
And there's events. We didn't do like the live. There's like live shows too.
Oh, you guys thought so? For those that don't know, I hate clowns with a fiery passion. And that one got me at the entrance.
I wish I was recording for that.
Yeah. So he was on stilts and he was laughing. And I have a few tactics to try and get the actors not to mess with me. One is I'll do what they're doing back to them. 2, I'll say hello if I know they're around a corner. So then, hello there. So they know, like, he knows. I'll wait for the next person. But this clown, I laughed back at the clown, and I was like, all right, I'm in the clear, and I walked by him, and he took his little tooty horn thing that's really loud.
It's like a damn megaphone.
Put it right next to my head, and it went, and I jumped 16 feet in the air and turned around with my fist cocked.
Whoa, testy one.
Like we were about to throw hands.
And he laughed at you.
Oh, he laughed. Everyone around, because that was right at the entrance. Everyone laughed. You do like, though, every time I get scared, my fists go up.
So
like, let's
good,
do this.
So good.
And then at the end of the Residence one, they got me so good. Because the girl peeked around the corner.
That was the Resident Evil one?
The one with the house. That was like
Yes.
Leatherface and stuff.
Yes.
The girl peeked around the corner with the red face paint on and said, boo.
Oh, at the exit.
Yes, because I thought we were done.
Yes.
And she peeked around the corner and went boo to me. And I went, And then I turned and another one was right there. And then behind her, the chainsaw guy comes running around.
Again. Right in front of
And
you.
it was just triple whammy. I was like,
And just as you think you've reached safety.
Yes.
You're out. You're done. There's lights everywhere.
Yep.
You think, like, okay, we're good. There's nothing here.
Yep, and you're
Joke's
walking
on
out with
you.
a bunch of people, and they get you good. So it was pretty funny. So overall, I mean, I would 100% do Hallows Cream again, but I do now feel like I need to experience Hollywood Horror Nights to overall.
You could step it up.
Right.
And you feel like you could step it up.
I mean, I'll probably be petrified and not be able to, because they do have a carnival at that one.
I'm so down.
The face of that one is a clown.
Well, we do. We have to like plan a night.
I was sad because a few years back, I think it was 2018, I really wanted to go to that because they did the Upside Down for Stranger Things. And that's my speed. Like, I love that. That would have been a ton of fun. I'm not into like gore and stuff. That's not my type of horror. That's why the zombie one, I was like, I mean, they did a good job with the toilet, but I was like,
I find those movies like old slasher movies. Like, that's fun. That's just fun.
Like 70s Michael Myers and stuff like that.
That's fun.
That's different.
I
That's
enjoy
classic.
stuff like that. It's classic. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like, okay. You know what I mean? I really want to describe that movie as fun. But like that's like kind of my speed. Like, I'm there. Like, I enjoy those movies. Stranger Things, yes. Sir Clowns, I really did enjoy it. Chapter 1 and 2.
I think they did it a few years ago.
I bet. I guess I don't really think there's anything that they do that they could actually do.
They did
that would.
Years ago, they did Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Perfect.
That one I would have enjoyed.
I don't really know anything that they could accurately replicate. Not accurately, but anything that they could try to portray.
Yeah.
Or a theme that would really be like, nah. Because really where I don't go cinema-wise is just supernatural shit just doesn't jive with me.
They do that at Halloween Horror Nights sometimes.
Right, but like, I can't think of a way that they would be able to implement
I don't think they'd
it.
ever go too far because they do need to keep it like 17.
Right.
People bring their kids to Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay, I would not do that.
I would never in a million years.
No.
My son would have mental problems for the rest of his life.
Well, you know what he ends up as?
Serial killer?
He ends up as a 35-year-old goth kid. Just cannot let it go. Just can't let it go.
Look, I'm not judging anybody. If you want to dress up and have a good time, go for it. In your Nightmare Before Christmas pajamas, have at it. That's your life choice.
Yeah, that's fine. I've I'm not saying I don't. Your life, you do you.
Because they look at me during Christmas time with my Santa hat on, like, look at this guy.
During Christmas time, you don't dress like Fat Man all year round. Okay? These people live this lifestyle every day of the week. I assume, go to work regularly. Do you fucking wear your sweet skull rings and your the shit to work? Like, come on.
Somebody does.
They do.
I mean, what if you work at Hot Topic?
Okay. That's the acceptable. There in Spencer's, I'll give it to you.
Spencer's.
You can dress like that as an acceptable.
You could do it if you work at a call center or something.
Like an advertiser. Okay. But fuck's sake, I can
think of a number of jobs where it's acceptable.
If you walk out of your house dressed like some of the people we saw, just imagine trying to piece together a goth kit in middle school, not really knowing what you're doing. That's what we saw. And they're grown-ass people. Grown.
Don't you think someone would come back at you and be like, you like video games?
Could, but I don't wear video games to work.
No, you don't.
If you see me on the street, you're like, yo, that dude definitely gets down 8 hours or more a day in a video game. You'd never know. You'd never know.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
You do not strike me as a gamer, so that's fair.
Perfect. I don't strike a lot of people like a lot of shit I do, which is exactly how I want it. To a T.
To the T.
Dressed like a homeless person when I'm not. That's on purpose. It's by design.
I want to know if Ben can survive, because Mike's from Pennsylvania, if you don't know that. Could Ben survive Eastern State Penitentiary?
No, I don't think so.
Why is it scarier than what we saw last night?
The whole atmosphere.
Because it's actually haunted.
Exactly.
We could start there.
It's not that bad. I think you could go through and you'd be all right. It's it's constantly in your face. At least when I went.
Because you just walk the one cell block and
You're
it's just,
going in and that's it. We have other, like we got Penhurst. You got other places too. The place on Long Island you were talking about.
Schmidt's Farm.
Now that's professional haunted house goer.
Yeah, I mean,
level.
they hire a whole team to come
Like,
in and do that.
I don't even know if I could make it to the 13th floor in that.
Oh, that's the New York City one.
Yeah, okay, that's the one I meant.
Where the one floor is pitch black.
Is Cropsy's place a haunted house?
I don't know.
That hospital he was doing his thing?
I don't know. There's a few in Manhattan that are like absolutely horrifying.
There's a bunch of places in New York State that are just fucking absolutely haunted and scary as fuck.
Oh, New York,
The
Long
backstories.
Long Island in and of itself, I forget the statistic, something along the lines of it's like the most haunted place in the world.
I believe
per
it.
square foot or something. I can't remember.
I believe it.
Something
There's a
along.
lot of shit that happened out there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Wayne used to live in a poltergeist house on Long Island.
Yeah.
He's got stories, and then you have the Sweet Hollow Road. That's the one where the ghost pushes your car because all the kids died in the school bus accident.
I'm good.
You also have, it's not Sweet Hollow Road, but it's in that area. I can't remember where it is, but there's the cop that pulls you over on the bike, and like people have sworn up and down this happens. And then when he turns around and walks away, the whole back of his head is blown out.
On a bike?
Yep.
Bicycle?
No.
Motorcycle?
Yes.
So this is a fairly new haunting.
70s.
That's newer, right?
Yeah. And then you have the legend of Lake Ronkonkoma, where
I've never heard this.
Because of what the white man did to the Native Americans, it is like, I forget how many deaths occur there a year, but it's like really unnatural. And people say that when people drown there, it's not natural. Like they're dragged to the bottom of the lake.
Wait, it's in a lake?
It's a lake on Long Island.
Oh my God.
And people drown. A bunch of people drown there every year. And people say it is not normal. Like I can't swim. It is like being dragged to the
People
bottom
who
of
have
the lake.
survived it?
No, people that have witnessed people drowning in the lake.
So they just go under and that's it?
Like almost like they're struggling to get back up.
Well, I mean, that's everyone drowning.
Yeah, but pulling down, like help, 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 help.
Fuck.
Being
No
dragged,
way.
like swimming fine, and all of a sudden, like whoop.
Really?
Yep. You have that.
How?
There's
Where is this place located? I don't know. Never plan on visiting
Lake
the body of
Ronkonkoma?
water, but
It's like probably what 15, 20 minutes from Kings Coast.
really,
Yeah,
it's right there.
everything's right there. It's Long Island.
That's fair.
You have
Okay.
Hangman's Tree, where I believe it was I think it's the Revolutionary War. The British used to hang Americans. That was down the block from my buddy Dave's house. Like on the beach, he showed me the tree.
What do you just see people hanging in the tree?
People come by, and sometimes at like I forget, sometime at night they'll see people hanging from the tree.
Is it part of a historical park or no?
No,
Oh.
it's not protected. But yeah, Long Island's mega haunted.
We have Valley Forge battlegrounds.
What happens there?
Apparently, people have reported seeing Civil War reenactments, and they thought it was a fucking reenactment.
Revolutionary War.
Wait, am I thinking Revolutionary War?
Valley Forge was revolutionary.
Yes.
That was George Washington's.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. So,
Like they see the battle happening again?
yes.
Oh, that's wild.
They'll see, and they'll think it's a
Reenactment.
yes,
Oh, that's
and it's actually not.
okay. Have
Uh,
you ever seen anything?
No, and I've been there a bunch.
I did the Sweet Hollow Road thing. So the whole thing with that is, and the car did get
Yeah, I'm an
pushed.
idiot. Revolutionary War.
The whole thing is the car moves, and if you get out and it's like misty condensation on the back of the car, you should see handprints pushing the car out of the way.
Nope.
We
There's
have
another one, I think
Mount
it's called-
Misery too, where there's like cults do like devil worship sacrifice stuff. We have
Has that
as
ever
well.
been confirmed?
Yes, because my buddy saw a bunch of guys in hoods out in the woods, not white hoods, black ones, out in the woods around a bonfire, and they like got lost in that area, and they turned around and they started walking towards my buddies in the car, and they threw it in reverse and never looked back.
No.
And you'll go out there, you'll find like animals gutted and stuff like that, just laying in the woods, but like cut open, not like a beast, like human, and like put on sticks and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that.
Like that type of stuff. So they do that a lot upstate too. You find places upstate.
There's two other places, and there's Devil's Den.
I've heard of Devil's Den.
And Little Round Top are supposedly also
nice. I've never heard of something
haunted
in Tampa being haunted.
Well,
ever.
It's scary enough just to be alive.
Just Florida man is absolutely terrifying. Freaking Florida man. So maybe next year we'll do some of that stuff. Mike and I are, and I'd like to get some guests on for this. The next 4 episodes, I am going to pick 8 episodes of Twilight Zone. Mike is going to watch them for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we're going to kind of dissect them. I'd love to bring some guests on to do this. So Tim and Ben offered. Maybe we'll get some other friends to join us and just go through, because I do an annual watch through starting September 1st of Twilight Zone. It's about as Halloween as I like to get. I do like old 50s, 40s horror too, like Nosferatu, Creature from the Black Lagoon, the old Frankenstein,
The classics,
black and whites. That's my jam. But this year we'll do Twilight Zone. And I'll pick 8 episodes. I think I'm gonna pick 8 like classic ones that everyone has seen.
Okay.
And get your take on them and whatnot. So we're gonna do that going to Halloween. Let's talk about Castlevania though. Speaking of Halloween and vampires, season 2, which was the first full length season because the first one's really short. We get to meet Alucard in season 2. We get to meet the Vampire Council, who Godbrand is by far and away my favorite. Played by what's his name? Stormguard. Peter Stormguard, is that his name?
Season 2.
And then we have Carmilla, Hector and Isaac. Which Hector and Isaac are the most interesting part of the season.
Peter Stormguard, you're right.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's when you meet his
familiars.
Yes. And they're
Forge Masters, right? Too?
They're creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Both of them.
But they have really cool backstories.
Yes. But
Isaac's is better. The guy who comes from I don't know what the part of the world it is, the desert one. The one Dracula loves more than anyone else.
He likes more, yes. Ends up, well, all right, I'm not going to spoil that.
I mean, it's season 2, you can spoil it.
Okay, fair.
Dracula dies at the end of the season.
Yes, and the one betrays...
Hector sides with Carmilla, but then like almost immediately regrets it.
Yeah.
I also love Hector's pug. That's such a cute little hilarious add-on. So the Forge Masters are the one that technically make the undead come back and serve the Vampire Council.
Yes.
So that was the one thing I was trying to figure out. How does the hierarchy work? Dracula's the head of the Vampire Council, and then each of these vampires come from different parts of the world.
That's my assumption,
which is pretty in line with every other vampire story.
Like
that's how Blade worked.
Yes.
And I think they did a really good job of representing different cultures with the Vampire Council too.
So if they're all from Dracula's
like the first, right?
Right. Assumed, right?
That's what I would assume.
But if I thought, you cut the head off the snake type deal.
Maybe that's not how it works in Castlevania.
It must not. Because if you kill the original,
Carmella's still alive at the end.
Right. And I mean, even though Alucard's
he's half.
He's still there. I mean, you'd assume he's dead, right? But he's not.
That whole scene with him and his dad in his room was pretty heavy. Where he's remembering him back to being a child and running through the hallways of his castle. And they do a phenomenal job of taking Dracula, who's traditionally a bad guy in every form of media, and giving him, I don't want to say humanizing him, because that's part of the whole point of him is he's not human. But I guess giving him an emotion and a soul and turning the coin almost so you can see the other side of things, that he's not this monster. He has a purpose.
Well, yeah. Well, at least the point of season 1
and season 2.
Yeah.
Because season 2 is just revenge for what everyone's done to him, and he doesn't even want to do it.
Season 2 gets really dark.
And then by the end, you can tell he completely regrets it.
Right.
But at the same time, he kind of says like he's gonna go be with his wife.
Yeah.
But can vampires do that in the afterlife? Because I thought the whole point was like you live forever because you don't get an afterlife.
Right. If you're the summoner of hell beasts, unless she's in hell too.
That would be my guess.
Right.
Is that something I'm going to find out later in the show? Okay. Because I'm going to start season 3 like this week because I love this show. Now
it's way better than you thought, right?
Well, you told me to watch the first season years ago, and I did, and I was like, I really like this. If this is anime, I could watch more of this.
Netflix did a solid job on this.
Right. And we're getting, so the season 4, I heard it doesn't really wind up the story, but it does end in a place that's acceptable for the show to end.
It's not a bad place to
This
stop.
story is over. We are getting more Castlevania, but this story is over because the writer couldn't keep his hands to himself. So this story is over.
Allegedly.
But, well, no, he admitted it.
Did he admit it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the next season or the next series in Castlevania is the French Revolution, which apparently is a time period that they've never explored in the games. Correct us if we're wrong on Twitter, Old Fashioned Pod. But apparently they've never explored this, so this will be a new story for the Belmont family.
You know what? That's the appropriate direction to go.
I agree.
100, whatever it is, whatever. But go in an area that's been untapped by the games, by anything else, because then you have a lot more freedom.
Yeah. Did you like? Do you know who Trevor is? Right, the voice of Trevor. You know who else he plays?
I've looked it up. I know
it's Richard Armitage is his name. He's Thor and Oakenshield in the Hobbit movies.
Okay.
And he's Robin Hood in the old. I'm sorry, he's the Sheriff of Nottingham in the old BBC Robin Hood series.
Okay.
That's where I know him from anyway. But he does a lot of voice acting, I found out after this. So he's in a lot of other stuff.
Good. He's great.
Yeah, no, he did a phenomenal job. Trevor's character is fun because he is the least enthusiastic
about what
vampire
he's doing.
Hunter.
Yes,
he just does it because it's his heritage.
So begrudgingly.
Yeah, it's so good the way it plays into the story.
Yeah,
and then he's like I have to work with Alucard, who's and then he can't stand Sifa either because she's a speakers. Is that what they're called?
So Trevor.
Sifa, the girl.
Yes, but you're saying Trevor hates her?
He can't stand her from what I. Oh, okay. Got a very interesting journey ahead of me.
Yes, you do.
I was told that season 3 is a dip and season 4 is like a whoop.
So I haven't touched season 4.
Okay.
I haven't. I'm going into season 4 with you.
All right, that sounds good.
So the wrap up and the good ending I know from other people that are trustworthy.
Sure.
So I will hit season 4 with you at the same time, and I'm supposed to rewatch season 2, but I did not get a chance to. I will be rewatching season 3.
Yeah.
Are we gonna finish this before we do
same time?
Okay, we do these at the same time as
the next episode will be the 2 episodes of Twilight Zone and season 3 of Castlevania.
Perfect.
Because you can blow that out in a week. They're not long.
Twilight Zone is not a problem.
They're like 20 minutes each.
Yeah, I just have to make sure I set aside time for Castlevania.
Yes. Oh, because you're gonna rewatch 3 and then watch 4. Yeah. I'm into it. Again, coming from someone who doesn't watch anime, I like these stories. I'm very interested in Hector and Isaac more than anything in the entire show, to be honest, because honestly, Isaac, because his journey from, being treated like absolute human garbage to where he was now. And then the part where Dracula leaves him in the desert because he's protecting him essentially it's almost gut wrenching to watch how Isaac feels about Dracula. Again, turning that coin and making you see this from a completely different angle and be like, all right, maybe he's not the bad guy, quote unquote.
Right.
You know, there's something else to this whole thing. Now, to me, Carmilla straight up is a villain.
Right.
Through and through.
Bitch.
She's like so.
Bitch.
At first, you're like, oh, she's kind of hot. And then you're like, oh my
Bitch.
God, she is awful. I love the way she talks to Goodbrand, though. Like, just telling him, like, basically all he wants to do is eat and fuck.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the vampire version of Robert Baratheon.
Oh my God.
Who in turn reminds me of Wayne.
Fair. I will say, I don't even know. So, like, if I'm thinking vampire animes, I think you've never heard of this, but a show called Hellsing.
I've heard of it.
Okay, so to me, that's like an anime. This, I don't know, just it feels more just like the animated series. Like it doesn't hit me as an anime. Maybe other people do.
No, but most people say it's anime. Like everyone that say that is an anime. But what I'm told is that is a style of anime that is not so like chibi is probably the best word I could use. Paul and Nate tell me this a lot because they literally have a show on Rare Drop dedicated to anime. If you've never heard it, it's called Studio Blank. Go look it up. But they tell me all the time, you know, if you like this style, you should watch these because either the same studio did it or it's in the same vein. But if I look at that and then I look at Visions, my favorite episodes of Visions were The Elder and The Duel, which are almost very much in line with
similar.
This. Yeah, especially The Elder.
Right.
The Duel was more that mixed with a.
But even that is
Kurosawa
still a little
film.
probably more chibi than what this is.
The Elder probably.
The Elder is,
but not the Duel. The Duel
Right.
was like straight up 50s samurai.
Yeah, I agree.
Kurosawa style. But this to me, I could watch more shows like this as long as the plot is good. That's it. You know, I need a good plot to stay interested.
And this has that.
Yeah. Again, my wife will always look at me. She's like, "Why do you watch like cartoons?" I'm like, "They're not for kids anymore. It's a cheaper way to make a good story." At the end of the day, it's actually what's funny is it's a cheaper way, but it's more work because you have less people creating this animated story that takes a lot of time than a full film crew. So the budget is less too. But animation, I would like to explore it more one by one.
I need to start watching more. So I've watched a very limited amount of the Batman animated series. I need to watch more of the Batman animated series.
It's on HBO Max.
I know.
And I highly recommend it. It is why I got interested in superheroes when I was a kid because of that show. That show means so much to me, even as a nerd. It's why I started buying Batman comics. You know, that show too, you've played the Arkham games. But that show was the natural evolution from being a kid watching that show to the Arkham games where the voices are the same exact people, but you're in this much darker, much grittier environment. But it's familiar to you to hear the Joker be voiced by Mark Hamill and to hear Kevin Conroy, who, by the way, I got to meet at Comic-Con one year and is a phenomenally nice guy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I literally said to him, Mr. Conroy, and Audrey was with me, my daughter, and she loves that show too. She found out we had HBO Max and she's like,
Give me the password.
She goes, give me the password. And I'm like, okay, here it is. 4 days later, we're talking, there's like 80 something episodes of that show. I'm like, what are you up to in animated series? I'm done.
Oh, no.
I'm done. About that. I watched the whole thing.
I'm on to the next one.
She's like, I'll watch it again in a couple months. Like, that's what I did to her because she would just sit on my lap at 6, 7 years old. And that's a very dark cartoon. But it's like, you could watch it with Gray. He'd be fine.
Right.
But there's some dark parts of it that you're going to be like, oh, that's intense.
Oh, my God.
But, you know, she grew up. So we met Kevin Conroy at Comic-Con. And I was like, Mr. Conroy, I would just like you to know that, you know, your work in Batman the Animated Series inspired me to do so many other cool things. And you're an inspiration. I said, I hope you voice Batman for years to come. And I said, a proof that it works, you know, at the time she's like 14, I think. I was like, my 14-year-old daughter also, you know, loves you. She took a picture with him. And then he says, so you both like Batman the Animated Series? I said, and she's like, yeah, my dad used to watch it with me when I was a kid. And then he did a line in front of her for her as Batman.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was like, I am the night. I am vengeance.
That's awesome.
Audrey was like, ah!
That's really cool, man.
So, even knowing that he's into, and Mark Hamill loves it too. You ever see him at Comic-Con when people ask him to do it?
No.
He'll be on a freaking Star Wars panel and people start talking about it.
It says a lot about the person, a lot about the guy that he's willing to do that.
He goes into this body motion, Mike, when he goes into Joker. I'll show you some other clips, but he literally folds his body up and his hands go like this. And he just goes for it. When he does the laugh, he throws his head back and he's like, ah, and he's like, goes into this character. It's wild.
Oh my God.
It's so cool. I'll show you some videos later, but that show means the world to me.
That says a whole lot about that guy.
Kevin Conroy?
About both of them, both him and Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
That especially Mark Hamill, being willing on a Star Wars panel, and I'm sure asked hundreds of thousands of times for lines like that or for bits to just break it out.
He read before the animated movie came out. I think it actually inspired them to make the animated movie. You know, the Killing Joke.
Mm-hmm.
The monologue at the end of Killing Joke is considered one of the best monologues in comic book history, where the Joker explains to Batman, the world isn't. It's part of where Heath drew the inspiration for how he would treat Batman and like mess with his head. Because the Joker goes into this whole thing about how society is, fucked up, and basically he's a reflection of it. That's the TLDR.
Mm-hmm.
The whole part where he's like, and everybody loses their mind. The convoy of soldiers,
right?
That's from that.
Oh,
and that's where you go like, huh? That's kind of true, and that's annoying that he's right.
Whoa.
Anyway, at Comic-Con once he read that, and he from the comic. As the monologue, they might have been workshopping it or in process of producing
That's
it,
cool.
But no one knew it was coming. And then years later, it would come with him voicing it.
That's crazy.
But he read it at Comic-Con as the Joker, and it's creepy.
Speaking of Joker Batman interactions.
Oh, yeah, I showed you the Justice League cut.
The last, so I still haven't seen the Snyder Cut.
Snyder Cut is great. It's just going to enhance the story that you already know, and Cyborg gets his due. Time on screen.
Still upset though that I won't get the movie I want from that movie.
No, you won't. I don't think HBO is going to fund it.
Which is fucking stupid. That's the movie everybody wants.
They're now too invested in this Pattinson push.
Oh, everybody wants that movie.
Which also that one looks good, but I also want what I'd rather have both.
That's what.
Like you don't have what.
The interactions
you don't have what Marvel has. Like
no.
Split it up, make different Earths, different movies. Like you failed miserably at what Marvel did.
And they have. Time and time again they've failed. And they just keep remaking the same damn movie over and over and over and over again.
And it's not good.
No.
It has good parts, but it's not in totality, it's not good.
But man, that interaction at the end of the movie.
You look at the YouTube comments.
I want to see what follows that.
The YouTube comments tell that entire story of how good Jared Leto could have been with the right creative direction and with Zack Snyder in charge of it.
Who directed Suicide Squad 1?
David Ayers. But it was chopped up by Warner Brothers. He said there's another 30 minutes of Joker footage that never made it into the movie. And everyone now wants the Ayers cut of Suicide Squad.
But it was his direction to take Joker in the tattoo.
I think it was a collaborative effort, and I also don't mind that version of Joker. I know a lot of people hate it.
I don't hate it, but it just doesn't feel like Joker to me.
But what if it did with another 30 minutes of being able to get to know that Joker?
I totally would accept it.
I see my philosophy on that is I have more faith in Jared Leto's ability to sell it to me than I do in the idea that a Joker with the word damage tattooed on their face is a bad version of the Joker. Just like I don't think we've ever had a bad version of Joker. I hate the Joker movie. I think it's one of the worst written films of all time. But Joaquin Phoenix does a phenomenal job with a shitty story and plays the part well. But the movie itself is horrendous.
Why?
Terrible writing. Gotham is just another crappy city in America. Nothing that makes it Gotham is in that movie. Not a single thing. Bruce Wayne being this antagonistic asshole with no backstory. Or I'm sorry, not Bruce. Thomas Wayne, this antagonist, makes zero sense to me. Like, why? Tell me more. Yes, there's versions of of that story where Thomas Wayne is a part of the mob and the whole Batman mythos that you're used to is shattered.
Oh.
But give me context and backstory, because not everyone's as deep into the comics as me or into the game. It happened in the Telltale game too. So given all of that context, I think they did a shitty job. The whole thing with him laughing with he's got a condition that makes him laugh. No, like that takes away from the whole psychosis of it.
Right.
The problem is that he finds terrible things funny and that it's unpredictable. One of the greatest things anyone's ever said about the Joker is that psychology of Batman. Remember I said that to you.
That was great. Watch the whole thing.
Do you remember what that professor from UCLA said? He said the scariest thing about the Joker is the unpredictability.
You don't know what the punchline is.
He's either going
whether
to
it's serious or not.
Right. He's either going to hand you a bouquet of flowers, or that flower on his jacket is filled with acid. And the problem is that you don't know, and Batman doesn't know, because there's no linear path to understanding what he's going to do next, which is what makes him dangerous. And that you take some of that away when you make his laughing a medical condition. So
okay.
Overall, fair. I just think the story was terribly written. I think it has some good scenes. I think Joaquin Phoenix knocks it out of the park because the guy's a phenomenal actor. But I think the director and the writing team did an ass shit job. I think that movie, this is my personal opinion and theory, I think that movie was written as something else. And then they were like, what if we made this the Joker and just put the Batman mythos and the Joker into it?
Really?
Yep.
Didn't that movie get attacked hard by the media?
The media hated it because it borderline glorified, the clown prince of crime. And then, the outcasts of society, the people that identified with him, defended it ruthlessly because they felt seen in that sense. I also don't like the idea of glorify. I don't mind a backstory. I don't like the idea of glorifying a villain, and the ending does that a little bit. Because this is a guy that murders without remorse. He thinks it's funny sometimes.
Right.
This is the guy that beat Robin to death with a crowbar in a warehouse in the middle of Europe. This is the guy that shoots Barbara Gordon in the back and paralyzes her.
But so many other stories do the same thing. I mean, not to a lesser degree, you could argue the Saw stories glorify the killings to teach a lesson.
I don't like those movies. The first one's okay.
But it didn't. I mean, quality of cinema
versus storytelling.
The story is, well, he has cancer and people take their life for granted, and he's teaching them a lesson, and it's their choice to die by his contraptions.
I can go with you on this. Saw is a new IP made only for movies and doesn't have, at this point, 80 years of storytelling behind it.
That's fair. But I'm talking media attack, or the attack on the film because it may glorify a bad person doing bad things, has been done before to a much less hated degree. Like, I don't remember, Moms on Fox or whatever coming out and in an uproar about Saw. I mean,
also,
do you?
I could give you that one. Why? It's because the Joker is a recognizable character to kids.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Saw is not.
Okay.
Your son, if you showed him a picture, knows who the Joker is.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
My son does too.
You're absolutely right.
Never in a million years would I let him watch any of the movies. Well, when he gets older, but not now. But he can watch the cartoons and, read the comics that I approve.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely right.
So, you have to take that into consideration, which is why Disney's so careful with like Maleficent and Cruella. Cruella is a good movie.
I enjoyed that movie. Apparently, Rob thinks it was meh.
Don't listen to Rob.
I thought it was a solid movie.
So
I went in with like completely neutral expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I was like, wow, that was way better than I expected it to be.
Cruella to me was Maleficent threw me for a loop because Maleficent is just straight up evil in the cartoons. And then they really tried to make her misunderstood.
Right.
Cruella was more, I'm misunderstood, but I'm still going to be bad.
I loved it.
Yeah, which I was okay with because at the end, it kind of reconciled the character going forward and it made it familiar.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, I was more okay with. Maleficent ended with, both of them end with, she's just misunderstood. She really is a good guy.
There's actually a heart of gold in there.
Yeah, but Cruella was like, I'm still going to be bad.
Right.
Like society wronged me, but I'm still gonna be bad.
I thought it was great. The cast was awesome.
They did reconcile the dog thing with her though. Like she didn't actually want to kill the dogs.
Yes.
They reconciled that, which I thought was kind of funny, but it's 2021, so
at least they touched on it. You know what else we didn't talk about? Suicide Squad 2.
Oh, we can talk about that. We got time.
We completely forgot to touch base. I fucking hate Weasel.
Weasel is the main.
I hate Weasel.
Weasel is the only reason. No, I'm kidding. Weasel was incredible. How did you hate Weasel?
I hate Weasel. I hate everything about the way he moves and the sounds he makes. And
you did not crack up laughing when he jumped out of that helicopter.
I did. Because he died. And then at the end he didn't. And I was like, no.
And Waller is like, did anyone check if he could swim? Danielle and I were laughing so hard.
So good. And to me, I was like, oh, because she wanted him to die to begin with.
Right.
In my mind, it's like, no one asked. And we were all secretly hoping he couldn't.
The fact that James Gunn killed off half of the cast that he advertised to be in the movie within the first 5 minutes.
So good.
Genius.
So good.
Nathan Fillion, gone. What's his name from SNL? Gone.
Which was also so good. I love as soon as he walks out and he betrayed him, right between the eyes.
Gone. It was James Gunn again.
And it made it even better as they're walking through and selecting all the members. Or no, when they go through and they introduced the actual team one.
Yeah.
And you see Pete come out and he's got the fucking toilet paper and he drops it off. He's like, oh yeah, here you go, boss. And then walks away. In my mind, like, yeah, she handpicked all of these people because she wanted them all to die.
Yep.
And the fact that Weasel survived.
And James Gunn already said there will be more Weasel in the future.
No!
Because he's done with I think I've been seeing articles, I haven't clicked on any. Either Guardians 3 is canceled.
No.
Or Guardians 3 is the end because Dave Bautista doesn't want to be Drax anymore.
That's fine. Guardians 3 being the end, I'm okay with. But I'm so excited for Guardians 3.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love 1 and 2.
Here,
like,
let me look it up while we're talking.
Like, I love 1 and 2.
I just saw 2 earlier this year, and I loved 1, and 2 is better than 1 in my opinion.
I love those movies, man.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I am a Weasel hater.
Pete and I loved Weasel.
It was hilarious. He was hilarious.
May 5th, 2023.
But I wanted him dead, and when he died, it was fantastic. And then they brought him back. I was like, no.
Oh no, they canceled they canceled the series. I guess they were going to do a TV series.
Well, like a Disney Plus series?
Maybe. I don't know.
That got canceled?
Are you going to play the game?
But yes.
Next month.
But the cinema is the
3
movie
is on for 2023 May.
Okay.
Yeah, the game looks phenomenal too.
Dude, John Cena
as Peacemaker. Him and Idris Elba stole the movie.
Their rivalry as they're going through when
they kill the camp that you find out was all friendlies.
Dude,
I was dying laughing.
Dude, he goes, didn't die, doesn't count. Concussion, some blah, blah, blah.
Or how he describes himself exactly like I do it better. That was, to me, that was finally John Cena showing how good of an actor he is.
He says something about bragging or something like that, and he goes, yeah, unless it's dope as fuck. And Idris Elba turns around and he goes, fuck, because he knows he's right.
Is it Black? What's his name? Blackguard?
Who?
Idris Elba? Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Blackguard was Pete Davidson. The fact that Sylvester Stallone is King Shark too. I loved King Shark. He was amazing.
When he starts to eat what's her face? The rat chick. Why can't I think of her name?
Ratcatcher 2.
Yes. Ratcatcher 2. He's starting to eat her. Hungry.
Did you see who played her dad in the flashback?
I couldn't put a name to it.
It was Taika Waititi.
Oh my God, it was.
It was Taika Waititi.
It was.
I didn't catch it either.
We've been talking about Flight of the Conchords a lot this week.
I mean, Tim and I have said it a million times. Taika is probably the luckiest man in entertainment right now. He's in Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and then he has What We Do in the Shadows.
He really is, man.
He's hitting it.
Really
he's just
is.
doing it.
It's hidden in plain sight, making all the money.
And everything. He was like going on random podcasts while we were in lockdown, like podcasts without numbers. Like he was just like, yeah, I'll be on your show, whatever. I don't care.
That's incredible. I didn't even think about how much
he's on my
in.
list. I want to have a drink with that guy. Just one drink.
He's the
and just
man.
chat for a few minutes. He seems legit. But yeah, he's I love him. He's great. But yeah, I liked Ratcatcher too. I thought she was fun.
She was good.
Polka Dot Man was absolutely hilarious.
Yep.
And his death was amazing.
Every time working his mother into it, and then
so good.
Starmie at the end.
I almost feel like they wasted what's that? Starro. I feel like they wasted Starro there.
I was referring to
like
the Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Star whatever.
No, but that reminded me of Starro as the villain. Starro to me is so powerful in the DC universe. Like he controls Superman numerous times. With his little guys.
And Harley just jumped inside his big fat eye.
I thought that was going to be the end of it. I didn't realize she would be like in the eye swimming, which was great too. But no, with Starro, I almost feel like that wasn't the place to use him because he is so powerful.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know, that'd be more of a Superman.
I could see that.
I want to know how this will, or if this had any influence on the game that's coming.
Really?
The Suicide Squad game? Because the setting looked pretty similar, except for the fact that it seems we're fighting Superman in that. Also, they killed Captain Boomerang. We forgot about that. They literally brought him back from the first movie.
And he had the little Terminator thumb. Oh, no. Was it him with his boomerang? Or was it a Terminator thumbs up?
I think it was the thumbs up.
So there's a fucking Easter egg right there.
But the fact that they brought back the actor and you're like, oh, I didn't know he was going to be in this. That's awesome, too. Dead. It's like, you damn geniuses.
Damn.
So do you pay like Pete Davidson and Nathan Fillion less because they're only in it for 5 minutes?
Yeah, I would assume.
Like they're billed as being in the movie.
I know.
Like
the marketing.
John Cena, Idris Elba, Pete Davidson.
So good. So good.
And they're dead within 5 minutes.
So good. Were we talking
also,
about
James Gunn soundtrack? 10 of 10.
Yes. Again.
That man in music, he gets it.
Were we talking about the timelines?
For what?
With Harley Quinn and where it picks up and where
you were asking about it based on what the possible future at the end of the Snyder Cut.
Yes. Oh, that's what it was. Yes, because he has a SWAT vest on at the end of Snyder Cut.
Right.
And when he breaks Harley out, for one, he goes in Gotham PD SWAT. I think it was SWAT.
Right. Well,
so does that occur right after?
No, that is a possible future that the Flash sees.
And Suicide Squad 2 takes place after Birds of Prey. Correct or no?
No, in between.
In between.
Because she says how she's moving on, which is why she has sex with the one guy.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, she's talking about so Birds of Prey is in between them.
Picking wrong guys and shit. Yes.
Right. So he's out of the picture already.
Yes.
In Snyder Cut, because Joker brings up Robin and killing him, you know, he's like, when you send a boy wonder to do a man's job.
So fucked up.
Then Batman brings up holding Harley while she's dying and promising to Harley that he's going to kill him. Is your wife looking at?
Yes, that's what you think it is.
She does that all day, huh?
All day, dude.
No matter where you just.
This is my life. If you're listening to this, I love you. Don't ever change.
Does she listen? I know she used to.
Yeah, she does.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, that's what you're thinking. He has the SWAT vest, which matches the one.
Right. That is in the same vein, right? Probably
timeline, some sort of correlation there. But if it is the same timeline, give or take, then this would be the distant future.
Okay.
Because the whole point of that future is in Snyder's world, Lois is the key to Superman not losing it and being a monster. So as long
becoming what everyone fears he could be.
Right, which is Batman's whole point throughout Batman vs. Superman through Justice League is like And that's why you haven't seen it, but like even Martian Manhunter, not Marvin Martian from Looney
Marvin
Tunes.
the Martian.
Martian Manhunter comes in, and everyone is basically like Lois is the key. Like Lois can't die, and if that's why Batman is so adamant about keeping Lois alive, because he knows that that'll keep Superman on his side,
Keeps him stable.
So that future that you see in those movies is Lois is dead, and Superman decides to be the dictator and take over the world, exactly what Batman feared. So that's what that future is. And even like you didn't see them, they're in that scene. Deathstroke is with them. I think her name's Hera. I never remember her name. Aquaman's lady friend.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Played by Johnny Depp's
Amber Heard.
Yeah.
I forget.
I forget her name. But she's there. Deathstroke, Joker, Batman, and I think Flash is there too.
Oh.
And you got excited when I told you that Michael Keaton's playing Batman in the new Flash movie.
Michael Keaton is probably my favorite Batman.
He's the one who got both sides of Batman perfect.
I am a big Michael Keaton fan.
We'll trace it back.
I'll put that out there.
You have Adam West in the 60s, which that you can't even compare that. It's not fair.
Iconic.
It's just Adam West. And it was very campy.
Right.
The bat phone.
You can't compare.
Blinking red and all that stuff.
Shark repellent.
And God, that's so good.
You can't compare. It's
wham, pow, slap.
Exactly.
Boom. Then you have Michael Keaton, who, in my opinion, nails the dichotomy of Batman and Bruce Wayne perfectly. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Then you have who plays him next? Val Kilmer.
Yes.
Great Batman. Terrible Bruce Wayne.
Then George Clooney.
Decent Bruce Wayne. Terrible Batman.
Then
Christian Bale. Excellent Bruce Wayne. Good Batman.
Hate
as long as he doesn't talk.
Hate the voice.
Yeah.
So bad.
Swear to me. Where are the other drugs? It's what I do that defines me. And then we had Ben Affleck. Decent Bruce Wayne. Decent Batman.
I can't wait.
Please don't use the stupid voice modulator. It drives me nuts.
All right.
When he's like, Batman.
I got to see it.
You haven't seen any of those?
No.
Oh.
Christian Bale's the last one I've seen.
See, I want you to see it for the sake of seeing it, but like Batman vs. Superman, you could watch the director's cut. It's not a good movie.
That's what it's like. Nah, it sucked.
It has good parts.
I'm going to skip it.
And it's good backstory for other stuff. And then the same thing with Justice League. The one that's cut up, I wouldn't even bother watching. I would just watch
Justice League. I was so on the fence about, and it was one of those movies where I was like, I need to watch this because it's Justice League. But it was like, nah, fucking sucks.
You seen Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Okay, watch Wonder Woman first. Watch Aquaman first.
Saw Wonder Woman. Started to watch 1984. Didn't finish 1984.
1984 doesn't matter in that context because it does take place in the past.
So Justice League was like, I'm going to put it on the back burner, fully intending to watch it later when it comes out somewhere and I see it on Netflix or whatever.
Just watch the Snyder
Cut. And it just never did.
It's just better. And like I said, they shaft Cyborg hard in the WB cut.
Okay.
And he's much more fleshed out as a character in the Snyder cut.
All right.
Even Aquaman has some more.
And that'll cover it.
Yeah. I mean,
Aquaman,
there's but you have to watch Batman vs. Superman before you watch Justice League because there's direct correlations in the story and how it progresses.
Okay, so before I watch Justice League,
you have to watch Batman vs. Superman.
All right.
Watch the director's cut.
All right.
It's a slog. There's some cool stuff in it. There's some good nods to the comic of when they battle in the comic.
Okay.
But if you're interested in those characters,
well, I'm sitting here trying to
watching.
piece timelines together, so
it's all going to be disjointed. It's not going to be this linear path. Plus, the villains, Doomsday's in Batman vs. Superman, and then Justice League is Darkseid and Steppenwolf. And thank God, the reason I tell you not to watch the WB cut is because Darkseid is like an Easter egg. He's not even a character, and in Snyder cut, he's actually in it, which makes everything make more sense.
Man.
They also redo Steppenwolf and not make him like a little pansy and make him into an actual villain like he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that's good. And I heard that the Snyder cut, the Flash stuff leads into the Flash movie that's coming out soon.
Okay.
There's like more context to that movie.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's worth watching. You can watch it in four. It's broken up into 4 parts.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, so you can like watch part 1 and then stop and then watch part 2 and then you don't have to sit for 4.5 hours and watch the whole thing. Danielle and I sat in 2 sittings. We watched it.
Oh,
so it was like 2 hours each.
That makes it easy.
Yeah, it's way more digestible. And it flashes on screen. It's like part 1. That's
easy.
So when it goes to part 2, you're like, all right, I'll come back. Felt more like a mini series. And since you're seeing it for the first time, you have nothing to compare it to. It'll feel even more like a mini series. So highly recommend. That's gonna do it for this episode. Extra long one. You're welcome. Even though we took 5 weeks off. Next week. I would like to try and record next week.
Next week, tune in for Kevin's assessment of Harry Potter.
Oh, it's he's gonna make me do this. Huh? I guess Halloween. It would make sense for me to finally finish. My problem is watching it without someone who hasn't seen the movies because I have lost all context from the ones I've already watched.
I will watch 1 through 8, stop or end it, and immediately want to start again.
Okay.
And I've watched the entire series.
Maybe I should just start with the ones watch them all again.
Or you stopped at Deathly Hallows, right?
I have not watched the Deathly Hallows.
All right, we can watch the Deathly Hallows once you know the ending, and you're like, okay, this is definitely a better movie than
I don't know the ending. Is that like amazing that no one's ever spoiled?
But I mean, there's a conclusion, right? It's like those movies. It gets darker as it progresses.
And then you can watch Fantastic Beasts, or it's just they're not even related.
I've seen all the Fantastic Beasts. I wouldn't even consider, if you want to watch them.
Is it just fun world building?
Be sure.
Not even?
No, I mean, there is.
Isn't it about Dumbledore when he's younger?
Yes, like but it's completely of no consequence. Like you could. I say this, someone's probably going to freak out because I'm missing some fucking detail.
How dare you see the wands that Dumbledore used in scene 6 of the movie?
Exactly.
Like that.
If you want to watch it, it feels like a different take on it.
But it's the same universe. It's the Hogwarts.
Right. Same universe. But
I like that stuff. I like when you can add context to a universe of information and stories that.
It's great. I like it. I wish I would get more.
It's why I'm excited for the Lord of the Rings Amazon series, because it's going to tell a whole different story that people are not used to with new characters.
Ever get it?
September next year.
If we ever get it.
September 22nd next year.
I don't know. Amazon's been canceling Lord of the Rings shit left and right, so.
No, they already ordered seasons 2 and 3.
Okay.
And this season is like the most expensive television show ever.
Okay. So yeah, I'm down for next week.
Cool. Well, we might be able to sneak one in before you start work this weekend.
Yes.
So we'll talk and see. But if not, we'll record one next week. And you will probably hear this at the end of this week, which is the beginning of October, which means that all of this conversation was timed perfectly to start off your scary season. Oh my God. Thank you for listening to Old Fashioned Podcast. Make sure to head over to raredrop.co to listen to old episodes of this and other podcasts on the network. Make sure you get that merch at highscoretees.com. And also, that King's Coast coffee. You have a good weekend. And I almost said, may the force be with you, because that's what I say at the end of Star Wars and Scotch. Maybe we need like a sign off on this.
May Leatherface visit you.
FYOF.
Yes.